Last week, a mutual aid group in Tulsa was arrested for feeding people without a permit. They told me why they're not stopping. I'm Dion Osborne. This is In Depth with Dion. Tulsa Food Not Bombs is a local chapter of a national anti-war, anti-capitalist protest group. Their demonstration? Supplying residents with food, clothing, and resources without proof of income, proof of housing, or proof of identity. For nearly 6 years, they've operated without major interference. That changed last week when Tulsa police officers arrested members of the group on charges of obstruction and violating the city's special permit ordinance. On May 6, law enforcement descended on the group as they were wrapping up feeding nearly 400 people near the corner of North Maybell Avenue and Reconciliation Way. Here's what the group told me.
Food Not Bombs is a local chapter of a global anti-war demonstration that has been going on for nearly 50 years. So we showed up last Wednesday with the plan to do exactly what we always do, which is to protest against the government's use of our taxpayer money to fund war rather than to feed its people. We do that by showing that there's another way, which is for neighbors to help neighbors.
But police say they responded to a public safety concern and arrested the group after it repeatedly refused to obtain required authorization. Here's the statement TPD sent me. On May 6, 2026, Tulsa police responded to an unpermitted gathering near 200 North Maybell, where a group was distributing meals. While the participants characterized the activity as a protest, the presence of distribution equipment and the lack of traditional demonstration materials suggested otherwise. But Tulsa Food Not Bombs says they didn't resist, they complied, while also reminding officers that they believe their actions are protected under the First Amendment.
And it's just become very clear to people that nobody resisted arrest, that we actually had conversations with the city.
The group says they spent months communicating with the city last year and even shared legal precedent from other Food Not Bombs court victories around the country.
The last time the city of Tulsa contacted Food Not Bombs was 9 months ago, until last week when they sent people to arrest us.
According to Tulsa's special permit ordinance, any organized event on public or private property requires a permit unless exempted. Permit fees start at more than $240 before additional costs. Tulsa police say other organizations comply with the same process, and Tulsa Food Not Bombs should too. But members of the group argue the city is treating protest like a transaction.
They sat two sheriff's cars in the middle of this, underneath the bridge here, and blocked traffic the entire time we were here. Nobody that was a part of our demonstration, our protest, parked in the street. Nobody set up in the street. We set up on the easement. And it's a dead end here.
When I visited the location myself, it appeared mostly isolated. Maybell turns into a dead end after crossing Reconciliation Way, where the protesters say they set up their materials every week on the easement. But now the arrests have got people debating in Tulsa, not just about homelessness, not just about permits, but about protest rights, public spaces, and who gets to decide what mutual aid looks like. Since 2020, Tulsa Food Not Bombs says it has served more than 30,000 meals. On the day of the arrests alone, they say they distributed nearly 400 meals, along with tents, sleeping bags, hygiene products, clothes, water, and dog food. And for some unhoused residents who I spoke with, those weekly feedings have become something bigger than charity.
They do positive work all the time. They look out for us. They help us when we're in need.
An unhoused resident who asked to go by SFT told me he witnessed the arrests firsthand and believes the city overreacted.
I feel the city shouldn't even start pressing charges. This is I see it as a retaliatory.
An unhoused couple named Butch and Amy, who I spoke with, say volunteers like Tulsa Food Not Bombs support them more directly than city programs.
They're actually helping us.
Where the city is not.
They're doing more for us than the city ever thought about doing.
The city of Tulsa disagrees. In a statement, city officials defended their broader homelessness strategy, pointing to initiatives like Safe Move Tulsa, low barrier shelters, and efforts to reduce unsafe encampments. Here's a statement they sent me. As background, the city of Tulsa has made addressing homelessness a priority and is investing more resources and coordination into homelessness response than at any time in Tulsa's history. Through efforts like Safe Move Tulsa and the closure of downtown to street sleeping, the city has worked to improve safety, connect people to services, and reduce unsafe encampment conditions in the urban core. Mayor Monroe Nichols has made reducing homelessness a major priority since taking office, unveiling a plan to bring homelessness to what the city calls functional zero by 2030. Food Not Bombs says it supports part of that vision.
We definitely celebrate the Nichols administration attempt at creating a low barrier shelter. We think that that's definitely got to be part of the solution.
But they also say city programs alone aren't enough. And they accuse Tulsa police of criminalizing unhoused people while punishing groups trying to help them survive.
The city can have all the cute programs they want to come up with, but TPD is still out here brutalizing unhoused every day of the week.
Nationally, Food Not Bombs chapters in other cities have fought and won legal battles over similar ordinances. In 2024, a federal judge in Houston ordered the city to stop ticketing Food Not Bombs protesters after a lawsuit from the Texas Civil Rights Project. And years earlier, another chapter successfully challenged restrictions in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Tulsa's chapter believes those cases strengthen their argument. The city disagrees. According to Tulsa officials, the city contacted the group at least 20 times about permit requirements tied to organized activity in public roadways. Now, it looks like both sides are headed toward a legal battle. Food Not Bombs says volunteers plan to continue weekly feedings every Wednesday despite the charges.
We have legal representation, so our next step is to figure out these criminal charges. That's why we're calling on folks to let the city know that they should drop those charges. Like, we don't need to do this, right? Because now we have to deal with that, and what comes next might look like, a civil lawsuit. So we think that city funds should be used in other ways.
A city says it's trying to regulate public safety. A protest group says it's defending constitutional rights. And unhoused residents caught in the middle are still showing up every week looking for food, supplies, and human connection. I'm Dion Osborne. This is In Depth with Dion. Follow for the latest updates and subscribe to support independent media.